this other category of what they call temporary insanity, where a person could be sane, but for that moment he went insane, he killed somebody, he raped somebody, he did whatever, and after that he regains his sanity. And this is a plea which people use to get out of crimes. In Islamic law, this is not accepted. A person who is insane is a person who is insane before the act and after the act. And insane doesn't mean a person who may have extreme behavior. I mean, a person who is insane is a person who, it's known when you speak to this person, you speak to them, what's your name? They say the sky is blue. Their response has nothing to do with the questions that you're asking them. This is a person who is insane, not a person who just gets very angry at certain times. Because people say, person refer to these people as being mad. But this is not acceptable according to Islamic law. Is it true that that Satan was a pious jinn before the creation of man? Well, Satan was, Iblis, that is, was among the angels. It is assumed that for him to have reached that elevated state was due to his obedience or due to certain knowledge which he had. And through his disobedience, he lost that status and became cursed eternally. Why do jinns enter pictures? Also, does this extend to mirrors? Are our reflections in the mirror jinn inhabited? Well, if you ever look in a mirror and see it doing things that you're not doing, then you can believe it. What we said before about the jinn, entering pictures or things like this is to create in the minds of people, that these pictures have special truth to them, or special holy nature or holy qualities, etc. Like as I spoke about the picture where the eyes closed or tears came from it, etc. If there are good jinns, would they have in their world meetings, lectures, etc., like we practicing Muslims do? Yes, why not? And also, of course, the Quran refers to gatherings of the jinns, reading the Quran, etc. So we know that they do actually. In relation to people being possessed, how can we tell if one is? Well, there are, signs which have to do with changes in people's character. It may involve changes in their voice patterns, certain times. They may take on very, filthy type habits. I mean, it's generally speaking, it's somebody who goes right out of character. They seem to have taken on another personality altogether. In the West, you have a category of what they call multiple personalities, which are one of the examples of jinn possession. What do jinns look like? And what would they look like in the hereafter? Well, Allah knows. The jinn, we don't have any definition of them, what they look like in their normal state, that is, when they don't take on, human form or some other forms in our world. I know that people have in the folklore that they have eyes like cats, they have feet like goats and tails and all kinds of stuff, but this is not authentic information. Why can't we see the jinn but they can see us? Well, this is how Allah has created them. Until we developed the microscope, then all the microbes could see us and we couldn't see them too. So, I mean, the fact that some of Allah's creation, have certain abilities which are beyond our abilities, doesn't mean, that they are more powerful than us, because we have been given a status over the rest of creation, and Iblis being instructed to bow was in recognition, along with the angels, to that status. Some places I go, I see things moving about and hear things. How am I supposed to react to this? Seek refuge in Allah. That is your basic reaction. Don't fear it, because ultimately nothing can happen to us except what God has written to happen to us. In the Quran it mentions the speed of angels as they travel in one day, which is equivalent to 50,000 years of ours. Please explain. Well, really there's no real explanation, because when you go into the issue of what is it referring to in terms of one day, is it one day, 1 24-hour day? Because a day is 24 hours on our planet. A day on Saturn maybe so many years, when in a day, in a year, what is this year? Are these light years? How far light travels in a year, or what? We just have a general statement from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala letting us know that the commands which come by way of the angels are over huge spaces of time, etc. And even so, they fulfill the commandments of God as they are given. If we watch a show of a person practicing magic, are we committing a sin? Well, if the show is something where people are clearly indicating that these are just tricks, they're not claiming for themselves magic, they're not taking on the aura of the magician, but just something to entertain people, then we could say that this is permissible, but preferable that we avoid it in any case. Because it is, even though it may not be clear out and out magic, it is bordering on that field, that forbidden field. Can jinn replicate or reproduce? Yes. There is evidence from both the Quran and Sunnah that they do have generations after them. Quran refers to, dhurriya, or descendants from among the jinn and men. Is it true that the Quran kills the jinn or keeps them away when read out loud? Well, I don't know about killing the jinn, but they do repel, it does repel the jinn. Why is it regarded so seriously in Islam to go to the fortune teller or believe what he says? As I stated, this involves attributing to others knowledge of the unseen, which only is known to God. Even Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, stated, Allah had him state in the Quran, that if he knew the unseen, the hidden things, then he would have gathered around him all of the good, and no evil would have befallen him. So, when a person in this world is now claiming that he has this knowledge of the unseen, he's claiming himself really to be greater even than the prophets. What is the difference between jinn, iblis, and shaitan? Well, the jinn represents that other creation, created from a fiery origin. Iblis is the name of that main individual amongst the jinn who was cursed by Allah. And shaitan is a name, Satan is a name which may be applicable to both jinns and men, because Allah refers to shayateen al-insi wal jinn, that there are devils amongst both humankind and the jinn. They represent the evil among the jinn, or evil among mankind. Do the angels do what we do? Well, if it means going to the bathroom, I don't think they do. But, do what we do, they do whatever Allah commands them, as Allah says in the Quran, وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ. They do whatever they're commanded to do. They don't have a free will. The only beings that have free will are the jinn, the world of the jinn, and human beings. How does a person stop a jinn communicating with them? By reciting the Quran, by protecting themselves, by removing things which would attract evil in from their homes, from around themselves, by using the different du'as which the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the supplications which he gave us when we go to our homes, when we leave our homes, when we go in the bathroom, when we put on our clothes, etc., etc. My mother hasn't yet accepted Islam. I'm a revert. Should she pass away and my elder sister insist on a chapel funeral, what is the Islamic perspective on me attending the funeral? Well, to attend the rites, the funeral rites, is not permissible. For a Muslim to attend the religious rites of any other system is not, or religious group is not acceptable. For one to go to the grave as a reminder of death, etc., is acceptable. But where one attends and takes part in the funeral rites, this is not permissible. Can one have a jinn protector, as some claim to? No. Who do jinns tend to enter and how? Well, the hows, Allah knows. I know people say it comes in through your foot or through your eye or your toe or whatever. Most of this is delusion. Actually, there's a book which will be available through the Islamic Information Center called The Exorcist Tradition in Islam, which I have just written. It should be available maybe within the next month or so. And this is a major research which I did for my PhD on the issues of possession, exorcism, etc. And it identifies, a lot of the misconceptions people have concerning exorcism. And hopefully, inshallah, you can get this book and get greater clarification of it. But the jinns, generally speaking, do tend to enter those people who are deviating or ignorant, deviating from true religion, etc. They do, of course, sometimes affect people who are true believers. They can affect them as part of the tests of this life. Does Iblis still exist? Is he alive? Yes. Is it true that his kingdom is located in Bermuda, the Bermuda Triangle? No. We can't say this. This is fiction. Is it true to say that humans were created as a sign for the angels? No. That is a sign to know that Allah knows everything, and to worship Allah is a duty given to them when they were created? No, we can't say this. Is a UFO a kind of jinn operation? Possibly. We spoke about. Is it true that people who don't reside in their own country, immigrants, can get money from the bank and take interest and it isn't haram or a sin? No, this is not true. The taking of interest is haram, a major sin, and can only be justified where one is in a situation where life and death is at play, is at question. A person is in dire need of a major operation to save their lives, and the Muslim community refuses to donate and to help them have this necessary operation, so they take out a bank loan to save themselves. This is a circumstance where Allah knows this is permissible for protection of one's life and health. But other than that, it is not permissible for one to take interest or pay interest, except where it comes under the area, as we said before, in the case of insurance, where it is necessary for driving a car, you must have insurance, or to have certain buildings which are necessary in the Muslim community, you may be required to have these insurances. So you take out the minimum possible policy. The general principle when dealing with these type of issues is that you only do as much as is absolutely necessary to fulfill that greater good that you're trying to achieve. And this is based on the principle that if a person is starving to death, plane crash on the desert, whatever, and the only thing that's available, is to save your life is, one of the members on the plane had a bottle of alcohol, and that's the only thing that's there to save your life. What you do is you take enough. You just take, a cap full. What is enough to keep yourself alive? You feel yourself about to die, you take a little bit to keep yourself alive. I mean, you don't just, take a little bit and you say, that tastes real nice. You pour yourself a full glass and then you're at it. No, you're only allowed to take what is absolutely necessary to save your life. How do you know if a hadith is right or wrong? This is the science of analysis of hadith, called usul al-hadith. which teaches you based on the narrators and the status of the narrators in terms of their ability to memorize, etc. You know, they are classified in different classifications, and the errors in which they came to know who met